During the American Civil War, a young soldier approached President Abraham Lincoln with a request. Lincoln patiently listened to his concerns without interrupting. When the soldier finished, Lincoln made sure he understood everything before responding. The soldier left with renewed hope, simply because someone had truly listened to him. An old wise man sat in the village square, known for his deep wisdom. A young boy asked him, "What's the secret to wisdom?" The old man smiled and said, "Listening." The boy looked confused. The old man continued, "When you talk, you repeat what you already know. But when you listen, you learn something new every time." A struggling company hired a new CEO. Instead of making immediate changes, he spent the first 3 months listening to employees at all levels. He asked for their ideas, concerns, and suggestions. By the end of the listening period, he implemented changes based on what he heard. Within a year, the company became one of the most successful in its industry. His secret? He listened. A new teacher entered the classroom and remained silent. The students were confused. After 5 minutes, she said, "You just experienced the power of listening. Silence helps you observe, understand, and learn more." A young man approached a monk and asked for wisdom. The monk remained silent for a long time. Finally, the monk said, "True wisdom comes not from speaking, but from listening deeply." A doctor once saved a patient's life simply by listening to his full story before diagnosing. He discovered a rare condition that other doctors had missed. A young girl cried on a bus. Instead of ignoring her, the bus driver asked, "What's wrong?" She said, "No one listens to me at home." Sometimes, strangers listening can heal wounds. A therapist sat in silence as a client spoke. After the session, the client said, "Thank you for helping me." The therapist had only listened, but that was enough. An elderly woman was sitting alone in a cafe, looking sad. A stranger asked, "Would you like to talk?" She smiled and shared her story. Listening brought her joy. A man sat in a temple, praying silently. He felt God was listening. Sometimes, just knowing someone hears you, even in silence, brings peace. A child struggled with words. Instead of rushing, the father waited patiently, listening. The child smiled and finally said, "Thank you for listening, Dad." A war veteran sat alone. A young man asked, "Can you share your story?" The veteran smiled for the first time in years. Listening heals unseen wounds. A fisherman shared, "The sea speaks, but only those who listen can hear its wisdom." A busy father ignored his daughter's stories until one day, she passed away. He realized listening was the greatest gift he had missed giving her. A young boy listened to a barking stray dog and found a way to help it find its home. Even animals need someone to listen. A deaf man sat in a concert and felt the music. He said, "I can't hear, but I can listen with my heart." A mother whispered to her baby, "I'll always listen to you." Years later, the child said, "That's why I tell you everything, Mom." A struggling student failed many subjects. One day, his teacher sat beside him and simply asked, "What's on your mind?" The boy opened up for the first time. Years later, he became a successful writer. He said, "That teacher saved me because she listened." A woman in a taxi was silent. The driver gently asked, "Are you okay?" She shared that she had lost a loved one. The driver listened, offering silent support. At the end of the ride, she said, "You were the first person to truly listen. Thank you." A grandfather told his grandchildren, "You don't have to agree with everyone, but always listen. That's how you learn." The children carried that lesson throughout their lives, becoming kind leaders. A wise sage once said, "Listening is not just about hearing words. It's about understanding emotions respecting perspectives, and building meaningful connections. Throughout history, the greatest leaders, healers, and visionaries were great listeners. They transformed lives, not with loud voices, but with open ears. In a world filled with noise, the power of listening is often overlooked. But those who truly listen inspire change, create happiness, and heal souls. So, listen, not just with your ears, but with your heart. It's the secret to wisdom, growth, and meaningful relationships.